Chelsea fans, welcome back to Talking Chelsea. Welcome back to another match preview. The FIFA Club World Cup round of 16 is right around the corner, and Chelsea face Benfica in the round of 16 Saturday, 8 PM kickoff here in the UK time. Now, in today's video, we will be going over the predicted Chelsea starting 11 for that game, and we're also going to be covering some recent Chelsea news, which includes Josh Acheampong, Tyrique George, Mike Penders, and Martinez. Now, of course, I'll be giving my own thoughts and opinions on everything that's been reported, but more importantly, I want to know what you guys think down below in the comments. And before we get into the video, make sure you leave a like and subscribe if you are a Chelsea fan who enjoys Chelsea content. We're on the road to 10k by the end of 2025. Now, kicking things off, Miguel Delaney reported late last night that Borussia Dortmund are exploring a deal for Josh Acheampong, and there is now a belief among suitor clubs that Chelsea may be willing to do business for £35 million. However, a short while later, Fabrizio Romano did report that Chelsea maintain their position on Josh Acheampong. No intention to sell the player this summer. New contract was agreed a few months ago, and he's been a key part of the project despite interest from several clubs. Now, I'm not going to lie, when I first saw Miguel Delaney's report, I did think, oh no, we're not going to be selling Josh Acheampong, are we? £35 million. Dortmund can try, but I don't want Chelsea to sell him at by any means possible, because right now, on current form, Josh Acheampong is a second choice right back. But not only that, he can play in the right centre back. He can play left back. He can play DM. He can invert from right back. Any job that Maresca gives this guy to do, he can do it to a very high standard. Every opportunity he has had wearing a Chelsea shirt, he has seized. He has taken by the scruff of the neck and made it his own. He is a fantastic player with a very high ceiling, lots of potential, and we are seeing how good he really is. Now, a few months ago, quite a number of months ago this season, we had the whole Josh Acheampong wasn't sure if he wanted to renew his contract or sign a new deal with Chelsea because of the pathway of playing right back. And I totally see his point in that situation. He's like, you've got Reece James, you've got Gusto. I've got no chance of getting in. However, he has played extremely well this season. Like I said, with every opportunity he's been given. He's then gone on to sign at that contract, which has only been done a few months ago. And now Miguel Delaney has reported that, Dortmund are trying it on for £35 million. Now, in my opinion, that isn't enough for Josh Acheampong, purely because of how much potential this kid has and how good he has been while playing for Chelsea. He's been absolutely phenomenal. Let's not beat around the bush here. He's been second to none. In my opinion, he should be the second choice to Reece James currently, because Gusto's performance over the last season or under Enzo Maresca just hasn't been that good, right? There has been a massive drop-off. I would much rather Josh Acheampong takes Gusto's place currently, but that's just my opinion. Would love to know your thoughts down below. Now, I know that Chelsea are not going to sell him. Well, I say I know. I hope. I hope with every fibre of my being that Chelsea won't sell him. Chelsea have said numerous times that he is not for sale. He is part of the future. He is an important part of the first team squad. And Enzo Maresca absolutely loves him, purely because he's a Swiss Army knife player who can play that role extremely well anywhere that he plays. 6'5", very confident on the ball, plays like he's got years and years of experience at a high level of football. Very integral to our Conference League campaign as well. So I'm very glad that this was squashed really quickly, because like I said, when I first saw Miguel Delaney's report, I thought, oh, my heart sank a little bit. Well, I don't know about that. I hope we do everything we can to keep him. And it looks like it will be that way. And to be fair, if you go back throughout last season, every time Miguel Delaney reports, it seems to be of some sort of description that Josh Acheampong wants to leave. And then Chelsea, to be fair to them, have come out very quickly saying that is not the case. He is not going anywhere, which I do respect. But I would love to know your thoughts and opinions down below regarding Josh Acheampong. Should he be Chelsea's number 2 right back currently, based on current form and because of how sort of poorly Gusto has been playing under Enzo Maresca? Very curious to know your thoughts. Kieran Gill reported about Tyrique George's future. Tyrique George on if he'll be staying next season or better to leave on loan for the game time, and Chelsea trying to sign another left winger. He says, I'm not really too sure. There's always going to be competition whether they sign one or not. I'm always ready to learn. Now, this one's very interesting to me because in previous video yesterday, we were talking about left wingers, and I said, it's good in the wide areas to have multiple players for those positions to rotate. And a few people were saying having 3 people for each position is just stupid. It's not going to work. How is Maresca going to keep that balance happy? And I totally see it. It's a fair comment, right? I was just thinking back to any title-winning side or any Chelsea side that was competing on all fronts. We had multiple players for most of the key positions. Now, we know our midfield is stacked. We know we've got a lot of centre-backs to rotate. We know that we need a left-back for sure to cover for Cucurella. Even though Josh can play there, Gusto can play there as well. We need strengthening in key areas. And the left wing right now is a big gaping hole. We've got Tyrique George as an out-and-out left winger. yes, Madueke, yes, Neto can play there, but it's not their best positions, right? So we're looking to get Gittins. It looks like that's going to go over the line. Amazing. But I still think we need that extra left winger. And it wasn't just to be greedy and have 3 players in that position. It's because the potential of with Tyrique George going on loan this season is relatively high. Now, I don't want to see George go on loan personally because I want him to get more minutes in a Chelsea shirt. However, the caveat to that is if he's not going to be playing many Premier League minutes and he's only going to be playing Carabao Cup games or, other competitions where he's not going to get that many minutes, it may be best for George to go on loan and we, secure another left winger who is going to come in and hit the ground running, because I want the best for Tyrique George. I think he's a fantastic player with some of the types of goals that he scores, the way he plays in a Chelsea shirt. He puts us on the edge of your seat because he's a youngster who's hungry and wants to do well, and that's always really refreshing to see. Now, I don't see a world where Chelsea sell Tyrique George, if I'm being honest, which I know is quite bold because Chelsea do some wild things, and we know this in the transfer market. However, I do see a world where he does go on loan, and I would I be happy with that? I wouldn't say happy is the right word. Unless it's really going to benefit George, then I would be really happy. Because I think as long as he's getting minutes and he's developing, there's always a place for him at Chelsea, in my opinion, because of how good he is and how much the club rate him in terms of his potential. In an ideal world, I'd like him to stay at Chelsea and play as many minutes as he can this season. But realistically, will he play more minutes than he did this season? Currently, I'm not too sure. So I feel like, a loan could be a good option if he's going to get the minutes. But again, I wanted to touch on this. Even Tyrique George is saying, look, there's always competition, whether they buy someone or not. I just want to learn from people. I want to get better. I want to upgrade. I want to be in a position where I am that number one left winger because I am the best in the training group, right? And I really respect that. It's a really good mentality for a youngster, and that he's always willing to learn. So it'll be very interesting to see how this pans out, and I'm very curious to know your thoughts down below. Do you think that George should be loaned out? Should we keep him for this season? Do you see him getting many minutes through the Premier League campaign? Bob Fasson and HLN Sport have reported that Mike Penders is already impressed in Chelsea training. There is a good chance that Penders will only be the third goalkeeper. In principle, Chelsea do not want to loan him, but it may make an exception for Strasbourg. Now, I really like this news. The goalkeeping situation at Chelsea has been a bit murky from the fans' perspective, right? Myself included, because we want a big number one. We were linked with Mike. Obviously, the whole issue with a couple of £1 million that Chelsea weren't willing to stretch to, I think it's personally ridiculous when you look back on it. However, there was a lot of people saying we don't really need him. We've got Sanchez, we've got Jorgensen, we've got Petrovic, we've got Penders, we've got Selena as well, which no one spoke about, by the way. Now, it looks like Petrovic is out the door. This summer, it looks like if £25 million bid comes in, he's gone. Petrovic has the green light. He wanted guaranteed number one spot. He isn't going to get that. Chelsea can't guarantee him that. Fair enough. That's the situation. He may be moving, right? Which does leave Sanchez, Jorgensen, and Penders. Now, if we were going to loan out Penders, I've said many times, that leaves us extremely thin in the goalkeeper front by just having Sanchez and Jorgensen as 1 and 2. I don't know any top club that has just 2 goalkeepers. They all have 3 as a minimum. Regardless if that third choice goalkeeper plays many games, they all have a third choice for a reason. You've got first choice. If he dips out of form or he gets injured, you've got a second choice. And look, Chelsea have even had this in the past where the first and second choice both get injured, and we've had to play our third choice goalkeeper for a period of time. So it's very valuable to have that. Not only valuable to play, but it's also valuable for behind the scenes that someone like Mike Penders, who has such a high ceiling and loads of potential and is already showing how good he can be at a very young age, can also learn off of the other goalkeepers, the coaches, and being in and around that Chelsea first team rather than being on loan. Now, in reality, I thought Penders was going to go on loan this summer, and that does open the doorway for Chelsea to potentially go get another goalkeeper, whether it is a replacement for Sanchez or Jorgensen or whatever it may be. But Penders might be going on loan. However, if he's impressed in training, he's going to stay and be Chelsea's third choice goalkeeper. I am all for that because we do know how much there is potential and how much Chelsea back Penders for the future. And they're saying currently he has the skill set to be a Premier League keeper. The only thing that goes against him is his age and experience. So they're saying that technically he's on that level. It's just having that experience and playing in those bigger games, which is going to make him be in rotation and challenging for that number one spot. So I'm all for Mike Penders to be staying at Chelsea as the third choice and maybe getting the odd opportunity in cup games potentially rather than going on loan. Again, I will always go back to this as long as it improves his development. If he's going to have a better season going out on loan being a number one somewhere, I'm also all for that as well. But hearing that he's going to be Chelsea's third choice is a big step up for him. Last season I think he was away, it was in Ghent, one of the two, I always get him confused. Had an incredible season there, a development season. He's now back with the Chelsea first team. I'd take that all day long. So I'm very curious to know your thoughts regarding Mike Penders. Do you feel like he will be a future Chelsea number one? Do you think that he needs to go on loan this summer? Or do you feel that being the third choice keeper this season is a really good move on his behalf? And lastly, before we get into predicting Chelsea's starting 11, Ask Martin have reported recently that Chelsea want Emiliano Martinez as their starting goalkeeper, and Enzo Maresca has asked. Willy Caballero has also given the go-ahead. The player wants to stay in England, so it's an option for Chelsea. Now, I don't know how reliable the source is. Like I always say to you, I just react to the headlines and talk to you guys about it and have conversations in the comments. Do I want Martinez? I think he is an upgrade on Sanchez for sure. Do I rate him as one of the top goalkeepers in Europe? Personally, no. I do think he is a very good goalkeeper. It'd be very interesting to see how much Aston Villa would be willing to ask for him. I feel like there have been reports in recent weeks asking around that £40 million mark, which I think is just too much for a goalkeeper. Yes, he's a World Cup winner. Yes, he is of a decent standard. Obviously, he's an upgrade on Sanchez. West Ham are also asking questions about Sanchez's availability. So there could be a world where Sanchez is sold and we go buy someone like Martinez, who I think is a big upgrade. However, if we are in that market, we could also revisit Big Mike over at Milan and pay the extra couple of million, or Milan may reduce that as the window sorts of closes and the time gets shorter. So there is a potential here where Chelsea do go get a new number one goalkeeper, and I'd be all for it. That I rate and respect Sanchez and the improvements he's made and how well he's played in sort of from 2025 onwards. However, long term, I don't see him being Chelsea's number one. And again, I'm happy to be proved wrong here. I'm happy to be proved wrong, but going into the new season with all these competitions, this summer window, we're looking to improve in key areas. I think that goalkeeper position, even if Chelsea aren't hell-bent on buying a new number one, it should be something that's looked at as a potential option. Would I take Martinez all day long over Sanchez? Would I pay £40 million for him? Probably not. I don't know how long he's got left on his Villa contract, but if he wants to stay in England, Villa don't want him, Caballero and Maresca are saying, yeah, we'll take him all day long, then why not? I feel like it does kind of boil down to, one, how reliable the source is, two, what the future of Robert Sanchez is going to be. Because if we are going to be bringing another number one, then we've got to look at Sanchez's future and go, are we looking to move him on to, say, someone like a West Ham who are currently interested? I'd be happy for it. Would we get our money back? Who knows? We know that Chelsea try and move a bit wild in the transfer market. But I would love to know your thoughts and opinions about Emiliano Martinez down below. Do you rate him as a number one? Do you feel like he could come in and improve Chelsea's backline? Do you think he would stop more potential goals? Do you think he's better at playing out of his feet than Robert Sanchez? Let me know your thoughts and opinions down below. So now we can move on to predicting Chelsea's starting 11 to face Benfica in the round of 16. Now, if I'm being honest, I feel like there are two positions that are nailed on. Well, I say one position because, again, Maresca may rotate. I'm hoping that he doesn't too much because it's the round of 16 now. The percentage is become very minimal in terms of rotation unless it's like a like for like when we are winning or chasing a game and there is a variety. For the starting 11, it has to be the strongest that I feel that we can field. And we rested a lot of players in the last group stage game, which is a good thing. It worked out in Maresca's favour. They've now got a fully rested squad, and we've given a lot of players some rotation minutes and valuable minutes on the game in this competition in the last game. So I feel like Sanchez is going to start in goal. We know that Enzo Maresca prefers Robert Sanchez over Jorgensen. However, Jorgensen had a really good game, didn't have much to do in the last group stage game against S. Tunis. Sanchez has been pretty solid throughout this campaign as well. I know he conceded 3 against Flamengo, and some people want to argue whether the goals are his fault or not. I personally don't think he could have done anything about those goals based on the way the sort of played out for those goals. I think he was just rather unlucky, especially that third one. The ball fell kindly to the Flamenco forward 6 yards out. There's not really much you can do about it. Regardless, I feel like Sanchez will start. Now, we have a fully rested Cucurella to play left back. It has to be, right? It has to be. We now know that we knew that Josh Acheampong can play left back, he can play right back to cover, and he plays it to a better standard than Malo Gusto. So I'm hoping that when Cucurella does need that rest, we can actually use Josh rather than Gusto. However, I feel like Maresca is trying to give Gusto the benefit of the doubt and really give him a good chance to settle into his systems. But let's be honest. Let's be really honest. Gusto just hasn't been performing well under Enzo Maresca. So, in my opinion, I would much rather him utilise Cucurella when he can, and then when he needs rest, use Josh Acheampong, unless we go into the market and buy an actual like for Cucurella, so we can have a good bit of rotation there. Now, when it comes to the centre-back partnership, this is where I kind of had a lot of question marks because Levi Colwill was recently ill, but he was in training. So we know that Maresca likes Levi Colwill. Badiashile had a very good game. Tosin's played very well, and you've also got Chalobah as well. So from my selection, I'm going to go with Levi Colwill because I feel like, he didn't play, he didn't play the last game at all. I was thinking that he got some minutes at the end there, but he didn't. He didn't play last game. He was ill. He did train. That's given him a little bit longer to recover for this game. So I feel like he will start. But his partner, I'm actually going to go with Tosin. Now, I think Tosin has been one of our most consistent centre-backs since we signed him. Yes, he's a bit older. He's like 27. He was actually captain for a period of the last game, which was amazing to see. Because he's got that experience. He's an older head. He's very cool, calm and collected on the ball. Very rarely makes a mistake. We know that his pace isn't as fast as some of the other centre-backs that we have. But overall, most of the time, he's Mr. Consistent. Wins a lot of aerial duels. Scored a goal last time, being an aerial threat in the attacking sense. So I feel like he's deserved that spot, if I'm being honest. And Colwill and Tosin, I'm happy with that as a centre-back partnership. Now, when we go to right-back, we've got a fully fit Reece James. Will he play the entire game? Who knows? But I feel like he will definitely start. And again, we've got Gusto or Josh Acheampong to kind of rotate left and right, to be fair. So I feel like James will start. Whether or not he inverts into midfield, which I'm really hoping that Enzo Maresca doesn't do. Now we're in the knockout stages, and it is Cucurella that's going to be inverting and going further forward in the pitch. I'd much rather that because we look a lot more comfortable doing that than Reece James. And we just want to stop this Reece James in midfield experiment because it clearly doesn't work as well as Maresca seems to think it's going to. Now again, when you come to the midfield, I feel like this is pretty much nailed on. We're going to have Caicedo because he's rested. We've got a rested Caicedo, which is a frightening thing for opponents to look at. And then I'm also going to go with Enzo Fernandez. Because again, rested. Well, I say rested. He did play. But I don't feel like he's going to get dropped for the round of 16. He was very vital in that last 16 game. Picking up 2 assists. He could actually be rotated. He could be one of the players that is rotated. I don't think he will be. I think he will start alongside Caicedo. But he could potentially because he got the minutes last time. Yes, he come off in the second half, of course, which kind of gives him a bit of a break. But I feel like you're going to start Caicedo and Enzo in a round of 16. Because when it comes to knockouts, it's just on the... You have such a stacked central midfield rotation that, if he's not playing well, we can pull him off and put an Andre Santos on. We could play a Sugo. We could put Lavia on there. A lot of people will be screaming to say that Lavia has to start. I still don't know a way where you fit in Palmer, Enzo, Caicedo, Lavia, unless you're going to drop Reece James and have Caicedo inverting from right back potentially. Maresca may go for that sort of tactic against Benfica. They might be less expecting of that. But I feel like we were going to go with Caicedo and Enzo. When it comes to the wide areas, again, I feel like Neto is going to be on the right-hand side because he is rested. And he's been one of our best performers in the Club World Cup. He's been cooking with goals, which is great. Long may that continue. Centrally, I feel like you're going to have Mr. Cole Palmer, right? Because again, rested. Well, I think he was an unused sub in the last game. Fully rested. Hopefully he's on his A game. But again, if he's not and he's not feeling up to it, then again, we have players that can rotate within his position, whether it's an Nkunku, whether it is pushing Andre Santos further forward or having Enzo Fernandez further forward and Andre Santos just behind. We have options now, which is so nice to have. Now, on the left-hand side, this is where I'm like, do you play Noni Madueke, who didn't really have a good game the last time he played? Or do you start Tyrique George, who come on as a substitute and scored a goal? This is where I think it could be either way. However, I'm going to go with how rigid Enzo Maresca is going to be, predicting how rigid he's going to be, and the fact that we are in knockout football now, I feel like he's going to start Noni Madueke. Now, the interesting thing is he may actually have Madueke on the right and Neto on the left. He might switch up that way. Happy to see that, to be fair. I feel like we can all agree that Madueke's better position is on the right, but there was a spell of games on the left-hand side where he was having a lot of fun. Club World Cup, it's not been that way. He's still been productive and still trying to, obviously generate chances and stuff for the team, but he's not been nowhere near as good as we know he can be, and he plays better on the right. But Neto has been cooking, so we'll go with that. And the only nailed on position really is the number 9. I don't see Enzo Maresca starting Mark Guiu. He did get a nice run out against Tunis, which was nice to see. But obviously Nicholas Jackson is still banned from his red card. It is going to be Mr. Liam Delap, which is just so nice to see because he's had an assist and a goal in the last 3 appearances in a Chelsea shirt, which is fantastic. So let's hope that continues. I'm hoping he can use a bit more of his brute strength and bully the centre-backs of Benfica, put the pressure on them and hopefully score some goals, because I honestly feel like Chelsea can go far in this competition. We've been kind, or the competition's been kind in terms of the draw that we have, in terms of the round of 16, the quarterfinals, potentially the semis, depending on how the other branch of this leg works out. I mean, we could end up facing Man City. We could end up facing someone like Al Hilal, or someone else on that side. Could be someone like Juventus. Yeah, even though Man City destroyed them, that was in the group stages, but they've both gone through. So yeah. I feel like that would be the predicted Chelsea 11 that I would go for. I feel that Chelsea can go far in this competition. We have to take this game seriously. We have to start on the right foot. Benfica are going to be massively up for it, but so should Chelsea. So that's my predicted Chelsea 11 to face Benfica in the round of 16. Do you like my lineup? Do you agree with it, or do you disagree? Let me know who you would play instead of me down below in the comments. And that's also all the latest Chelsea news. So let me know your thoughts and opinions on everything that's been reported down below in the comments, because I love having a conversation with you guys. And if you have watched this video all the way to the end, firstly, you're a real one, and I mean that. You're a real one. But secondly, there will be a thumbnail appears on the screen. So if you are a Chelsea fan who enjoys Chelsea content, make sure you click that thumbnail because you'll enjoy that video too.